Hi everyone, welcome to Sugar Snippets. I'm Rachel Tufel. I own Intricate Icing's Cake Design in Denver, and today I'm going to show you how to make the simplest, fastest ice cream sandwich cake you've ever seen. There are actually only a handful of different things that you need in order to get started. So obviously the first thing you're going to need is some cake, and it can be any style, flavor, whatever kind of cake you want to make, or you could probably even pre-purchase a pound cake, just something you can grab at the store. But this one happens to be a chocolate chip vanilla bean cake, something that I really love and I think pairs extremely well with what you might find in a flavor profile for an actual ice cream sandwich. So what I have here is, this was actually a 9-inch square cake. I try to make it super simple for myself. I had printed out a little template of an ice cream sandwich so I could get the dimensions correct, and I knew I wanted it about 9 inches long, and so I made a 9-inch cake in order to pair with the template I already made, so I don't have to do extra work, trim off extra cake, all that good stuff. So you do need a template, you need some cake, a knife, any kind of knife will do. Of course, you need your favorite buttercream, and then I'm actually going to be using modeling chocolate today, but you could certainly use fondant. And then I have just a couple of tools that I'm going to use, and I'm sure you could find something laying around at home that you could use instead of my tools. If in any reason you want to actually buy what I'm using today, you certainly can check the link below. I have a list of all of my favorite things that I use when I'm baking. So let's get started with our ice cream cake. This is the template that I'm using. It's approximately 3 inches wide and the length is 9. And what I'm going to do is just place that template right on my cake. I'm going to hang over the edge just a touch to make sure that when I ice my cake it fits well with the actual template I made for the topping, the little cookie, that chocolate cookie. The cookie part is super, super cute and easy to make. It's so simple, you guys. You're gonna, like, literally, I could make this in just a handful of minutes. So I'm gonna set this piece aside. You can probably make another ice cream sandwich with that piece as well. So once you have it cut, go ahead and remove your template, and then we're just gonna get some buttercream on here. Now, I would be super easy, it's super easy to ice this cake, but I would be careful. Careful that you don't get any crumbs in your icing. If you do, it's not the end of the world because you can always chill it and come back and put another layer of icing. But because I want this to be super fast and easy, I'm just being careful not to get any crumbs on the outside of my icing. And so you always want to keep your spatula filled with icing when you put it onto the cake itself. I'm going to zoom in here for you guys. When you put it on the cake itself, try really hard to just push that icing ahead of your spatula, never touching the cake itself with the spatula, just with the icing. Keep it ahead, push it forward, grab some more icing, and then that way you actually won't have any crumbs in your icing itself, and you don't have to do multiple coats, especially for something as quick as and easy as this particular cake. I'll tell you why I'm doing it this way. For my business, I, of course, make luxury wedding cakes for my clients, and they tend to be pretty elaborate and time-consuming. And so when I'm making a cake just for friends and family, if I'm having a get-together or a party or something, and I want to do a cake, but I don't want to spend hours and hours laboring over a cake because, of course, I do that for my job. And sometimes I don't mind actually making a detailed cake if it's a really special occasion that I am hosting. But generally, I just want something fast and easy because I don't have a whole lot of extra time in my life in general to make elaborate cakes for my clients and then also make elaborate cakes for myself. We just run out of time, people, you know, full-time jobs, 40 hours a week-ish. When I'm doing luxury wedding cakes, obviously every cake has its own time frame, but I don't want to be spending 40 hours on a cake that I am making for just a dinner party when I'm having a few friends over, that sort of thing. So let's get back to cake, right? So cake This cake, I am just cleaning up a little bit. It's not the end of the world if you have a little spot where cake is showing through. Just come back in, cover it up. And I don't know about you, but anytime I've ever opened up an actual ice cream sandwich, I don't think it's ever been perfect and smooth and, absolutely gorgeous. That's kind of the beauty of some of the cakes I choose to make for friends when I'm having people over. Entertaining, if you will. And, I like things that can be simple, quick, easy, messy, don't require perfection and lots of extra time for me to be working on cake. I want to enjoy my time just before, indulging with friends and family. So I'm just going to clean up the edges of my cake a little bit and clean up my board as well. Now you'll notice I didn't actually put this cake on a board, and there's a reason for that. We'll get to it in just a moment. But, if you see any glaring pieces of icing that are really just hanging out and you want to get rid of them, go for it. But again, ice cream sandwiches are not intended to look perfect. Okay, let me pop this in the refrigerator for just a moment. And what we're going to do is switch over to making our ice cream sandwich cookies in order to continue the process of decorating our cake. Now, as I mentioned, I have one template for my cake, and that's because cake is a little greasy. You don't want to put grease or anything back onto your modeling chocolate. And again, you can use fondant as well here. So I have, let me just move this. So I have rolled out, let me come back to the center here. Sorry, guys. I've rolled out my modeling chocolate. This is probably only maybe a 1/16 of an inch thick and maybe a little bit thicker than that. And then I just take my template and place it right on top. And I'm going to use my favorite tool. This is a Dresden tool. It's got a nice sharp point to it. And it cuts if you run over your modeling chocolate or fondant. It will a couple times it takes to get all the way through. But I'm just going to drag my tool all the way around the template. Now, cookie sandwiches, when the cookie dough is actually baked, they do kind of expand a little bit. So these don't have to be perfectly straight. If it needed to be perfectly straight, you just lay a ruler right on top of your template and you are good to go. But because ice cream sandwiches bake and they kind of bake a little unevenly, don't worry about making this perfect. It's not what this particular style of cake is all about. Get rid of the excess modeling chocolate, and now you just have your cake or your cookie for your ice cream sandwich cake. I cut one out already. Either of these could be top or bottom. I usually look and just say which one looks a little better. But the nice part about having a template is that now you can poke all those little holes as well. Now, I am using, this is another tool. It comes in a set. There's like 12 tools. It's just got a pointed end to it. You certainly could use your Dresden tool as well. I like this one because when you push into the modeling chocolate itself, it actually creates sort of that hole that looks like it's opening up a little bit. So right now, I'm going fast because I'm just trying to mark where each of these little holes are going to go. Again, it's just my template. It makes it easy. I don't have to think now. I've got all these little holes in here, and I don't have to really think about when I'm pushing in here and making those holes, where I'm going, measuring them. That's the beauty of just having a template to do the work for you. So all I'm doing is just deepening these holes just a little bit. You could do a little circle in there if you really wanted to open them up a little bit more. It would show that white icing through, which with an ice cream sandwich, sometimes you see that icing, sometimes you don't. It really just, it depends on the sandwich itself. But I'm gonna take my knife, I've got a paper towel, I'm just gonna clean it off. And I did put a little powdered sugar under here, but because I was pushing so hard, I want to make sure that this isn't sticking anywhere. So I just run my knife underneath it and pick it up. So now I have my top. This is my bottom. I used the template, and kind of the cool part is once you mark the template once, all you have to do is trim around it and then use your hand to smooth, and it actually marks all of these for you. And then you can go in the second time that you're making a top and just use your tool to press it there. So I have my bottom, I have my top. My bottom, this becomes my cake board. It's an edible cake board. How fun is that? So all I'm gonna do is put some icing on the bottom. The reason is when I set my cake that I just iced on top of this, I want it to stick, but I like a little bit more icing when I have cake and icing together. I just prefer to have a little more icing on the bottom. And I know that's really weird because you wouldn't normally have that, but in the case of an edible board like this, why not, right? We can do that. Just try not to go too close to the edge, and if you do, it's really easy just to wipe it back off and on to the next piece. So, one more little swipe over here in this corner. Now I'm going to grab my cake that I've already iced before. It is certainly not cold since we just did this, but it will be good enough for what we're doing today. And all I'm going to do here is grab, let me open this back up. I'm going to just grab underneath the cake with my knife, just making sure it's free. And you probably would want to let this chill. It certainly would make it easy to handle your cake if it were cold. Not a big deal either way. I'm just going to use my knife to guide and then just lay it down on top of the cookie, trying to make sure I'm even. I'm going to scooch it over just a hair. Oh, don't worry about that. Again, cold cake, better option here, right? But for the sake of showing you guys what I'm up to today, that works just fine. So let me clean up my other side here. And if you need to add any icing anywhere, you definitely could do that. Just find any spots that might need it, cover it right back up, and you're good to go again. So I'm gonna make sure I can find my cookie under there, because that's the fun part of this cake, is that cookie. And then you take your second piece of modeling chocolate and just line it up right on top. And then just give it a little smooth. Don't worry if you get any icing anywhere it's not supposed to be. It's okay. It's an ice cream sandwich. It doesn't matter. That's, again, the gorgeous part about this particular cake is it's supposed to be messy. Usually it's like melting and ooey gooey with icing or ice cream just running out of the package when I open it. I don't know about you guys, but it never seems to hold up in my kitchen. I don't eat them fast enough apparently, or I just wait too long to open it. One of the two. Can't decide. So that's our ice cream sandwich. You could, if you wanted to, stack them up a little bit. That's definitely an option. If you wanted to, let me grab a spatula and get under this guy. Or you could just pick it up and eat it. But this is kind of the great part about, let's go this way, about this particular style of cake is it just doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. You know, I want to make sure all my cake is covered. You don't want to see cake. But the fun part about this is just making sure that you have this super cool, cute, adorable little treat that people are going to walk in and know exactly what you're going for and enjoy it. It'll be tasty, right? All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment in the section below. If you haven't liked my page, please do so if you're enjoying what you're seeing here. And of course, I appreciate any referrals over to my page to any of your sugar friends who might enjoy watching this tutorial as well. So enjoy your ice cream sandwich. Bye-bye.